Are you recording that?
Excuse me.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Breadbag Besties podcast. This is Ari, and I'm here with
Apple.
And we are sipping on Monster's low-carb, sugar-free energy drinks. Not sponsored, but hopefully one day. Today, we have a few topics on hand. In the previous podcast, we kind of just winged it.
We didn't have any notes or anything prepared. At all, actually, which was surprising because we got an hour of content.
We rated
7, 8 out of 10.
Why?
Because I'm trying to be nice. No, I'm trying not to be full of ourselves. Like, listening to it, I was entertained, and I felt like it flowed pretty well. But I think it's just because we were just, like, having a conversation. Stressing about it. I liked it. I was also in it, so I don't know. My opinion is biased.
I would rate it, for the first one, I would rate it an 8 out of 10. I feel like it was very entertaining. The hour flew by.
Yeah, it did.
We were texting that whole time, and when I checked, I had like 12 minutes left. There was little to no errors. I only found one error in there. And then also, too, I feel like our sound quality was very good and very well put together. So, I would say, yeah, 8 out of 10.
We kind of both know where we want to, like, make some changes as far as, like, intro and outro. Sound effects you set up at some point.
Yes!
Hopefully.
Maybe an intro song. If you guys have any ideas for an intro song, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Since we did end it a little bit abruptly. How old are you?
I'm 26. How old are you?
I'm also 26.
Are you?
I am.
What the heck?
We're only a few months apart, no?
Yeah, I
March
guess so.
to June.
Wow.
I don't even think we knew each other's birthdays.
I'm sorry.
My birthday's so cute, though.
It is. I think it's stuck with me now. But I think I, like, barely learned it, like, last year.
Yeah, same. Because I know around what date.
Me too.
I just never can guess that specific date on the first try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 26 years old. I've worked a lot of jobs.
Honestly, I don't know because we never really talked about what we do for work.
To each other?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like, did you know all my jobs? I don't think so.
Let's see what I can... I remember some of them. So I know you worked for Fresno State. You worked, like, in the ticket booth or something, right?
Yeah.
I know you worked there. You work for your mom.
Mm-hmm.
You worked at McDonald's.
Yeah, first job.
You worked at...
The job you got me.
The job I got you. You worked at Save Mart. You worked at... You were like a RBT or something like that in LA.
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay, what about me?
My mind is blank. I know Save Mart, of course. Teaching.
Teaching what? Because there's like 3 jobs of teaching in there.
Oh, the tutoring thing?
Yeah.
You did that for a while. After that, I don't know. There's like a gap.
Yeah. So when I graduated, I got a job at Save Mart Center because my sister was working there. And I think she stopped working there, and then I got hired. And then I worked for some old people, and I was taking care of like 2 old people and then my dad because he was sick.
I remember that.
And then I also worked for Teaching Fellows, and I would work at like 2 different schools to fill like a full-time schedule because they would cap us at I think like 29 hours or something. But most of the time our schedules were under like 20, so I would work at 2 schools. And I worked at Winkle. I worked at the bookstore at my university. Oh, I worked for a company that supplies like paraprofessionals and the SPED department. I worked for them. Damn, I've had a lot of jobs. You want to know how many of them I've ghosted?
Tell me.
No. A lot of them, but...
I think I only ever ghosted one job. There was nothing that, on their end that made me ghost them. So what happened was, it was during like, pandemic rules, so like we still had to wear face masks. I guess there was something that let me do it. But I got my schedule. I was scheduled for a double without asking me. But at the time, I was like, well, I kind of need the money, so I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to do it. That shift was starting at 6 a.m. Showed up like 5:45. Was in the parking lot. It was raining that day, like pouring. Got out of the car, walked to the front door, forgot my mask, had to go back to my car. I sat down and was like, I do not want to get out of this car again.
It felt like a sign.
Yeah. And the whole time I was regretting it. Like, I remember waking up and I was like, I'm going to quit today. I just know it. But I still got ready. I was like, no, maybe it's just like in my head. I got ready, still went to work.
I think you texted me that day before you went, and then after that you quit.
Yeah, probably.
I remember that you texted me because I woke up and I was like, what is she talking about? I had a bunch of messages, and then after was like, okay, I quit. Or I drove back home or something like that. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was over it.
How long did you last?
The second time?
The second time?
Honestly, felt like a month and a half. Not long at all.
I didn't even make it. We applied together, right?
Yeah.
And
the second time.
Apple went through with it and I didn't because
you did.
I was like,
and I should have not have either.
I was just like, because I wanted the extra money and stuff, but I was like, the weather's bad and I remember how bad it would get.
Who cares?
They're not great, you know? So, and then I was just like, it's not worth it. I'm not doing it. I have a lot going on. I think I was still in my last semester of school. That's why.
Yeah.
So I didn't go through with it. And she was like calling me and I didn't answer. And she like texted me and she's like, hey, hun, just want to know if you were still interested in the job. And I was like, no, thank you. I have a lot going on right now. And she's like, okay, we're here anytime for you. And I was proud of myself because I was trying to avoid her. I was trying to ghost her too, but I felt bad.
Oh, nice, huh? No, they really needed people.
They really did.
Bad. There was a guy there that had, I think he said like 5 strikes. Yeah. He was coming up short a lot. And
pocketing?
Maybe. Probably. But someone was like, yeah, this guy shouldn't even be here. And I was like, why? And he was like, yeah, I've been written up like too many times. And I'm like, well, what's the cut? And they were like 3. And he had 5. But they couldn't afford to lose anyone.
Damn. So they didn't recover really after the pandemic?
They didn't like send us away properly. They just sent an email saying like, these shows are canceled. We'll let you know if anything changes. And that was it. That was the only notice we got, and then everything shut down. They didn't ever tell us, this is why we're closing. Obviously, everyone knew what was going on, but to, like, not get a notice,
It's kind of like they just shut you guys out, and that was it. They didn't know anything, so you guys were not going to know anything.
Yeah. I
genuinely did like working there, but I feel like after I got with my partner and I got him a job, the boss, one time he like came up to us and he was like, you can tell me, I already know you guys are dating. And we were not even dating at the time, so it wasn't like we were hiding anything, but I feel like they were just picking on us, and when they would let other people get away with stuff like calling in, they would tell us that we needed 24-hour notices. I was like, I've never heard a workplace that requires 24-hour notices. I wish I would have done more to defend myself at the time, but I think I was a different person back then. I was very young, but I did try to stand up for myself because she told me, come in if you still want your job. But I was like, I'll talk to you if you get the HR rep to sit in. And she said, okay, like, you lost your job, basically. I was like, okay. But then, like, after that, I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to talk to the HR rep and I'm going to stand up for myself. But we were going through a lot at the time. I think my parents were splitting up and I was having to move. So I didn't go through with it.
It just wasn't worth it. Like, to argue with someone.
It just felt so unfair, though, like, backstabbing, you know? And it just kind of hurt my feelings because I was like, she's getting away with it and nobody's going to do anything about it. And nobody did. Nobody did.
I don't think anyone ever will.
So would you say that was your worst job?
No. McDonald's.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah. It was, like, management, of course. So I was hired to only be a cashier, because they were like the highest ranked McDonald's in town, and they wanted to keep their status. So at the time, McDonald's was starting like the waitering thing.
Oh, I see. When they started remodeling, right? The buildings and stuff, and started bringing.
Where we had to like take out food to people, check in on people, ask them if they wanted like a refill.
That's so weird.
That kind of thing. So that's pretty much what I got hired for. To be at the register and cater to people. Management was really weird about like our appearance, and I wasn't allowed to have a blank face ever on the job. I had to be smiling at all times.
What the heck? How did they enforce that? Like, what did they tell you guys?
There was one time I was taking an order, and like she came up behind me and like nudged me like with her elbow, and was like, put on a smile. Like, things got weird because of that. And she was just always there. Like it was just a uncomfortable environment where...
How long were you there at that job?
4 months.
4 months seems so long when you're, like, miserable, though.
Yeah.
For the county, and I was so miserable. And I was only there for, like, 2 months. It was crazy. I feel like my breaking point was when I was in training, and one of the ladies had said that she had been there for 24 years or something. And she started when she was 24 or something like that. Or she was there for 20 years, something like that, right? And I was like, oh no, like, I'm 24.
Yeah.
And this lady has been here the last 20 years. There was a girl who sat in the cubicle next to me. So she wasn't in my specific unit, but she sat next to me. And she kind of seemed shunned out from her unit. And from what I heard, she had issues within them. And that day, I think it was a Friday, I had to be there every day because I was new, but my unit, they were able to work from home. I see her walk into her boss's office, and she looks kind of upset. I see not just her boss, but her boss's boss. And they came to her cubicle, and they told her that she couldn't go anywhere in the office and that she needed to get all her stuff and leave. And then the boss's boss even told her, like, I'm not the one to mess with. And I was just like, wow, it's so freaking ghetto here. And after that, I was like, oh my God, if I do something wrong, are they going to also treat me like that? They didn't let her go anywhere in the office. Like, they escorted her out. That happened on a Friday, and I think that following Monday, I quit.
You had all weekend to think about it.
Yeah. And I told him, hey, I'm quitting, okay? I didn't ask him nothing. I just told him, hey, I'm quitting. This is a decision that I'm making. I packed up my stuff. I wrote my resignation letter. I printed it on their copier. And I put it in my boss's office with my badge and everything she needed from me. And I left that day with all my stuff that was mine, and I didn't go back.
Did you leave at the end of the day?
Yeah. Packed up all my stuff. Yeah, and I left. And I even left my nameplate. I thought I was so official because I had a nameplate and everything. Yeah, I just texted him and I was like, hey, I'm quitting. And that's it. And I quit. My family didn't know that I had quit. And I was just like, well, gotta write it out.
It's best not to stay in situations where you're not happy. You can feel it when you don't belong. A lot of people will sit through it, fight through it, and just deal with it. And I'm not one of those people. I will not sit in an uncomfortable situation. I will leave immediately.
One thing about me is I'll quit a job.
When I was in LA, I was a private contractor. I was my own boss in a weird way, but I still worked under someone. They pretty much like gave me jobs, and I took them. This lady, she didn't respect me in the way that I thought I should be. Like, I was her only experienced employee. I had a degree. She also just didn't respect, like, my personal life. I had a lot going on at the time, and because I was a private contractor, you're supposed to be able to accept jobs you want and times. And she, like, would give me a hard time about that. About, like, starting at different times. There was one incident where I was having car issues. I couldn't drive my car. It needed a lot of work, and it just, like, broke down on me. I didn't end up going to one of my jobs. She was texting me, and she's like, hey, what's going on? Like, they said you're not there yet. And I was like, no, I canceled on them because I'm having car issues. And she's like, well, can you take an Uber? Like, yeah, she was being helpful, but at the same time, it was, like, pushy. Being your own boss, like, I shouldn't have to listen to anyone. I was just over it. There was little things here and there. Like, I was asking her for more cases in my area, and she kept telling me no, like, I don't have anything right now. And one day I got a random phone call, and she's like asking me about these towns around me, because in LA all the towns are like right next to each other. And she's asking me about this town like right next to me, literally a mile and a half away. And she's asking me about areas there, asking if it was far from me. I told her no. She's like, well, I was talking to a few people in that city, and I think I'm gonna bring them on. For her, I think it was a money thing, because every person she trained, they had to pay for their training, so she was getting that. Every case you have, she was getting a portion of that. It was like a pyramid scheme, because I told her I had COVID, sent her a test, and that I tested positive. This is the time when the rules were changing, where it was like 2 weeks to 7 days to 5 days to 2 days. I was like, I'll let you know in 2 weeks how I'm feeling, or if I'm feeling better before the 2 week mark, I'll let you know. And she kept checking in like at the 5 day mark, and then she would like send me screenshots of like, this is what the CDC says, and like
wow,
like technically you can come back to work now, and like that kind of thing.
Not even asking you how you felt or anything.
And at the time I'm like, you're getting more employees in my area, why don't you just have them cover it? Because you weren't giving me more cases, like just make them do it. After that, I blocked her number, email, blocked everything, and I was like,
that's
I'm
ghosted. You ghosted her.
I ghosted her. But when I say it, it doesn't sound that bad. I think I'm just a picky person. Like, when I say I won't sit in an uncomfortable situation, I will not. Like,
it's hard, and it's hard. That's a skill, because it's hard for people to get up and be like, I don't feel comfortable here, and leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like parties, jobs, anything.
I just don't feel pressured. Like, when it comes to jobs, I feel like there's always ways to make money.
Yeah, the generation before us, like the people who were born in like 80s, will stay at a job for years.
Yeah.
Years. And it's just because they think differently. They see the potential in moving up in the job. And that's fine. It's just a different mindset. Like, our generation, if we're uncomfortable at that job, we're gone. I worked at Amazon for a whole 2 days. First day you start at 10, and basically they just take you around, they show you everything, they train you, you have lunch. You only work about the last 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours, I believe. And I was in picking. From what I heard, it's the worst, because they have packing, they have picking, they have ship dock, they have like different ones, like troubleshooting stuff. I don't really know the ins and outs of Amazon, but everything is important there. But picking is the one where they send around the robots and you go up and down getting the packages and put them in different bins, right? So sometimes the worst of the worst is when you have to take out a fucking 12 pack of Gatorades or something from the bottom, and your back already hurts, your back is killing you, and you have to pick up that 12 pack of Gatorades, pick it up over your shoulders and put it in a tote over and over again. And you're going up and down the step ladder. And I remember at the time I was big. I think it was part of the time where I was like the biggest I've ever been. So I was struggling. When I came home, bro, let me tell you, you know, like Nacho Libre's butt when he's standing on the wall? Like, that's how I was, but walking. Like, I couldn't even walk. I was like waddling. I was so sore, dude, that I was just like, I can't do this. But I went back the next day because...
You did.
Because
you did that.
I did that because I was going with my partner and my mother-in-law. So I was so embarrassed. Like, how was I going to be the only one that wasn't going to go back the next day, right? So I went. She picked us up the next morning because we were carpooling. And we went back the next day. I think, again... No, that day we started at 7:30. I was hurting. You don't even know. But that day we started at 7:30. I did not want to be there. I made it to lunch. I did. And then I made it back from lunch. But I didn't make it past 3. Nope. I told him, hey, that's it for me. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And it was so embarrassing because he had to ask my mother-in-law for the keys. Because she was the one who drove us. She carpooled us. I think I could do it now. Definitely.
I think so too.
Definitely now. But at the time... I couldn't. Just realistically. So
I accidentally got hired. I made it through the hiring process. And I remember I was first day there, super excited because like, oh my god, like this job's amazing. Can't believe I got it. It was on accident. I was qualified for the job, but not quite. I was being trained, and then I was in this room of everyone that was on my shift. We did like a little introduction thing. They were asking us all questions and like kind of get to know each other. And then they were like, oh, what school did you go to? And I tell them, and they're just like looking confused at me. I was like, oh, I'm not from here. And then they're like, oh, where are you doing your program at? And I'm like, what program? Like, what? I'm not doing a program. What are you talking about? They're like, did you graduate already? I'm like, yeah. Like,
not from here. Yeah, what are you talking about?
And then this other girl just kind of like dismissed it. And she's like, oh, she's not from here. Like, she doesn't know what we're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
They didn't tell you what they were talking about?
I mentioned anything about school, they thought that I was in the program. So yeah, I was hired on accident. And she was like, well, do you still want to continue? And I was like, no, like I'm not gonna go into a program. Yeah, I was like, I have no desire to enroll. I just left school. Like, I was in school for 5 years. No.
So was it a job through like a school, like a university?
No, it was, what would you call it?
Like an internship?
I guess it was an internship in a way, paid internship. It was a 3-month position, and then, yeah, I guess you could call it that. But they thought I was in school and I wasn't. They told me I could work there for 3 months. They're like, we're happy to keep you, but like you would just have to resign after 3 months. I was like, oh, I'm okay. I do regret not keeping that job though, because it would have been really like fun, I think.
What do you have your bachelor's in?
Oh, child development.
And what do you do now? And tattoo? You have a bachelor's in tattooing?
Yeah.
I have a bachelor's in cotton candy.
Yes, you do.
Expert. I'm an expert in cotton candy.
Yep.
I was thinking about adding sugar-free cotton candy. What do you think?
I think you should.
I should, huh?
You would get a lot more clients, too.
I was thinking about it. I gotta research and see if that's even a thing. But that would be cool.
I'm sure it is. I have a funny story.
Yeah?
Embarrassing hiring story, yeah. I applied to be a lead of this like teen mom group home. And honestly, I think they only let me in because they felt bad for me. I truly believe that. So first interview was over the phone. Got through to the second round. Second interview was video. And let me tell you, I woke up like freaking 5-10 minutes before that interview because I was just exhausted, things going on in my life. Like, I didn't have a proper sleeping schedule. So I woke up 5-10 minutes before, like, try to put on some light makeup, put my hair back, like, make it look like I didn't just wake up 2 minutes ago. Threw on a shirt. Okay, I had a bra on with a button up.
No. What's going on? Where are we going with this?
So what happened was I was in such a rush that I missed a button. So like you know when like the buttons are off, so
There's
not
like a
even
hole, right? Or
so it creates a hole. I'm sitting down. Whole interview goes fine. Like, I'm not even aware of what's going on. They seem really positive. They're liking me. We're laughing. We're making jokes. I move on to the third round. And right as they say bye, the bottom of the Zoom screen disappears. And I have, like, they can see, like, right below my boobs. There's just, like, an open, like, my shirt's completely open. And I was like, oh, my God. I'm just sitting there like this whole time, and no one
said anything.
cared to tell me anything.
For education, we both went to Fresno State. Go Bulldogs.
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
2020.
I graduated in 2019. Yeah. And then we both started in 2015, right? So it took us about 4 to 5 years to graduate.
Yeah, I switched majors like 2 times. I was a dance major for 2 years.
I remember that.
And then I did kinesiology for 1 year. And science classes said, nope, you are not qualified. So then I almost quit altogether. But my mom pushed me and was like, no, you need to do this. And there's just that pressure of, like, getting a degree. And I was like, well, I only have, 1.5 to 2 more years, so I'll just do it. And then I got into child development. and I really loved it. I loved like learning about those things, but when it came to working, I did not like any of those jobs.
Yeah, there's very few good jobs. Get into my education. Like we said, we started back in 2015. I graduated from Fresno State in 2019. I took a little break, and that's when I was kind of like, I don't know what I want to do, and I did teaching fellows for a little bit. I was a tutor. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I started just working. I was working, and then COVID hit, and everything shut down.
Yeah. And
then after that, I started applying for like more serious jobs because I already had my bachelor's.
Your
I was like,
grown-up job.
Yeah, I was like, at this point, I need to do something that's gonna make me more money.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was the ultimate sign of success because growing up, my dad was always like, "Oh, I don't care about your graduations. Like, when you get your first job, then let me know."
So did he not pressure school on you guys? He just cared about work?
Yeah, he never pressured school on us. I never thought about that.
That's kind of cool.
And he always cared about work, and all he wanted was for us to work and have a job and make money because he's always only cared about money. Yeah, but it's not a good mindset because I feel like it affected me in a negative way because I never thought about what I genuinely wanted to do for myself. I just thought, well, what's the fastest way to get there so I can make money? I feel like that's why I got into these situations where these jobs were not meant for me, but I felt like I just needed to make money, and then I was unhappy. I feel like I don't party as much, and I'm kind of okay with not partying as much. But I'll tell you this, I am a social partier. Like, if my friends are around and, like, the vibes are right and I'm feeling it, like, ooh, I'm fun. I feel like I'm fun. Like, even though we were not drunk or anything that night that we were at the show, like, it was still fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we would have had even more fun if we were specifically there for the show.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too.
But I think now it's kind of, like, more of, I feel like I want to go out. I want to be around people my age. I want to do things because it's fun and not because I have to. Mm-hmm. Like, go to shows with you or go out to dinner or go have lunch with my friends, go thrifting, like things like that because I want to do them, not because I feel like I have to. So yes, I know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my goal is to go out a little bit more these next 4. Well, that's a little bit backwards because I just told some guy that I wanted to save money these next 4 months and pay off my debt.
You can do things for free.
Well, my goal is to be young, to act my age, because at my job, like, I'm constantly around people that are 45 plus.
Right.
And I have lunch with people that are almost my mom's age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or people that used to teach you.
Yes. Or people that used to teach me. And I care about them and I love them and they're amazing and they're my mentors. And, you know, like, I wish nothing but the best for them, but I have no business acting that age. I have no business acting 60 years old. Like, my sisters are young, my family, my nieces, my friends they're all young. Like, we can all do fun stuff that's not old people things.
Your work and personal life separate?
Yes, definitely. Even though it be meshing sometimes because we do be having lunch together with
we still love them,
my 60-year-old gals.
I love that though.
Yeah.
You've always had like so much going on. Like, every time I like, even today, I didn't really hear from you, but I was like, I'm pretty sure she's doing something. Like,
did you check my location?
I didn't, but I feel like you're just always on the go, and like that reflects like within your whole life.
You know what's funny? That I feel like I'm never doing anything or never doing enough.
You're always doing something.
And I think I'm really excited to start my vegan diet.
I'm excited too.
I'm really excited. I feel like I'm shifting my mindset slowly so that I can be more willing to do it. If a vegan diet is too restrictive for me, I might try like vegetarian. Mm-hmm. At least for a while. But for the 2 weeks for sure, I want to be strict.
Yes. I think you'll feel it, like...
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think like by day 2, honestly.
Yeah. I'm going to send everybody the meal plan. But I really want to document my journey because I want to see the differences and I want to just kind of bring along. Yeah, bring everybody
document
along.
Your thoughts, because your thoughts will change too.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. I'm scared.
Yeah. I'm vegan and Ari wants to take the challenge of doing a 2-week vegan diet. see how she feels and jumpstart a new journey, both physical and mentally.
And you were very nice enough to make me a very detailed meal plan.
Yeah.
A very detailed meal plan. And she was also nice enough to offer to take me to go buy everything with her.
Because I don't want you to be lost.
It's going to be fun, and I'm going to document it for sure. And I'll let you guys know how much weight I lose, because that's the goal for this diet. But along with that, I just want to feel healthier. Like, I want to feel motivated again. And
you'll notice it. Like, so when I used to watch like vegan transition videos, everyone would talk about how light they felt, and I didn't understand that until I did it. And then you don't feel like bloated, you don't feel super full when you're done eating a meal, and like you feel like you could still be active like after you just ate like a full plate of food, or and then your mindset, like I don't know, I just felt like more positive and like like clear-minded, and it's just like a fresh start. And I don't know if this is too deep or corny, but the way I used to think about vegan food is like, you are what you eat, right?
Definitely.
So there's a lot of hurt, trauma, pain and harm that go into regular food, and you're constantly eating that. So when you're eating clean, natural stuff, you don't have all of that like negative energy after.
We have on the agenda Google Breadbag Besties.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Okay. I was
very curious about that.
Did you Google?
No, I wanted to wait until we had our podcast.
Okay. Side story. Did you know that sweet potatoes and yams were in the same thing? Because I just revealed this to Cody, and he like blew his mind.
I have seen both, but I didn't.
And usually anytime you get sweet potatoes from anywhere, they're yams. I just Googled it. I think it was because the day we were supposed to upload, I was stressing out because it hit 5:30, and I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, I'm scared. No one is communicating with me.
Yeah,
like, we
were very busy.
I don't think I reached out to him. But you weren't responding, and I was like, I know they have like this party going on. Like, they probably haven't even got to it yet.
He was working the entire time.
But I Googled it to try to find anything, like because I didn't know where you were uploading to. So I was like, maybe a Spotify link will come up, or YouTube or something. But I Googled it, and this came up, and I was like, oh my god, we need this bag. It's called Bread Bestie bag. And it's a little, like, loaf of bread.
That is so cute.
Another question before we close. What have you realized you've liked less and less the older you get?
Something that I feel like I've liked less and less, or at least chased, is the idea of stability. I feel like when I was younger, I used to dream of having a house, having a career, having that comfort, that stability within myself and my family. And I think it's because maybe just growing up, I didn't feel safe all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like now at this point in my life, I really, really, really dream and desire to travel and see different places and not necessarily settle down somewhere.
Yeah.
And do different things and pursue like social media or whatever I want to do. That is not what the traditional career path is, as in go to school. Even though I've been trying to do both at the same time, I think I have to take one of them seriously to be successful in one of them.
Yeah.
So right now, as I'm preparing for the next steps in my life, because, you know, life is hard and we still have to do what we have to do, I'm also working on the other part of my dreams at the same time.
Right.
Because I don't want to give it up, but I have to survive, and I don't have anybody that I'm going to fall back on if I lose my job or if I stop working, you know? So sometimes we just have to do what we have to do, and it takes longer. But yeah, that's something that I feel like I liked the idea of it less. Just stability as a whole.
But I think that's like the new American dream versus like the older generation, where like they wanted a house, woman at home and the guy working and whatnot, the 2 kids, traditional family.
The perfect family.
Yeah, and that was it. But like now I feel like there's so many younger people that are just chasing life,
just
and
trying to survive.
Yeah,
like,
not
it's
really
so
like
hard.
an end goal. Like, we're just living and having fun.
Yeah.
There's less pressure. Like, we're all putting in work in some way. Yeah, I think that's cool. I like the answer.
Thank you.
My answer is education. So I am not a complete believer in education. I would say, like, I don't put it on a pedestal anymore like I used to. When I was younger, I felt like I fell into education as a comfort. Like, I knew that that's what I was supposed to do, and it gave me, like, a guideline when I didn't know what to do. So I used that, like, as a plan B kind of thing, something to rely on. But since I went through the whole education system and didn't use my degree at all, there was a lot of times where, well, during school, there's a lot of times that I wanted to quit and push myself to finish because I'm like, well, I only have 1 year left, so I'm going to keep going. But also, once I graduated, I've had a lot of moments of regret of, like, why didn't I quit? Why did I even go to college? I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do, like, any of that. I always knew I wanted to be a tattoo artist. But I kept putting that, like, I put it in a category of a hobby. And I couldn't see, or, like, more like the world was telling me, like, I couldn't do that full time. And make that a career. So, I don't know, just reflecting on having regret, and, like, I feel like that was time wasted, because if I would have started sooner, I would have been, better than I am right now. I would have had 5 years more of experience, and may have been in a better place. But also, like, helping my sister enroll in college. I feel like my parents were kind of pushing her to go to state, and I had a talk with her, and I told her, like, I already know she doesn't like school. So I was like, coming from me, a person that went to college, doesn't use their degree, and is in something completely different, I don't think this is a good decision for you. And I told her, like, you can still go to school, but you can choose an alternative and get a training, get a certification, so that way you can do what you want to do. So yeah, she's taking, like, a different route.
But yeah, I agree with you. Education is,
I feel like,
very interesting.
it is. There's kids that want to go into something specific, and they do need education, a regular, college education. So that's good for them, but to be pushed on everyone, I don't think is fair.
Yeah.
I just heard a story today. One of his friends is feeling pressured right now because they want to start a business. So they're going to school for business. And he had a talk with them saying, like, you don't need a business degree to start your own business. And that's things that, like, people don't know, or they're not aware of.
It does help. I mean, it does help. It does. Yeah.
It gives you,
like, a behind the scenes, maybe, type of
they kind of teach you everything, like, you need to know. But that's also, like, education that you can get for free online.
At this point in time, yeah.
Everything is online right now. So, for his situation where money is an issue, like, he doesn't need to take that route.
A lot of it is networking. Networking, like, that's really how you get where you want to be with people on your side, really. And in business, I think, especially, like, talking to people and getting to know people and networking helps you come across more opportunities in the long run. So, because even you got your spot through networking. Whether you realized it or not, because you were getting tattooed by him and you were talking to him and he liked you, and like, it was networking. It's who you know, really.
Talking about networking, and I think it happened casually because during my appointment, we would talk about the tattooing industry, so he automatically got an idea of where my mindset was, and like the environment that I wanted to work in.
Mm-hmm.
So in a weird way, it was kind of an interview.
Yeah, kind of like an ongoing interview type of thing.
Because of the topics we would talk about.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting now.
Why?
I just set myself up.
That's awesome.
So we're wrapping up now. Thank you all for listening. We mentioned it on our last episode, but we want to start including you guys in our podcast and give you the opportunity to share your stories, secrets, relationship tips, maybe even questions for us. If you want to know anything about us or give us a random topic that you're interested in, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and DM us so that way your voice stays anonymous. DM us on Instagram. We'll be sure to include you in our episode to start a new conversation.
Yes, we will see you guys on Friday at 5:30. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.